What's the most important thing you do when you're trying to merge with a brand new team in a new culture that you've never been in before? That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you, as always, for being a true believer, for being a listener, and for sending in your questions. This week's question comes from Enzo in Texas. And Enzo showed up on my LinkedIn not too long ago. And she has this great social energy. So she's always responding to posts and doing a lot of posting. And now she's putting up her own video. And she's got this great energy and positivity and spirituality around agility in her work. She's got great energy. I had to take her question and answer it for her on the air. I think it was a great question, and I want to make sure she gets the love that she needs. So here's the question. How do you adapt faster with a new team in a company very different from any previous company you've ever worked with? What advice would you give in regards to what should be top priority when trying to merge into an entirely new team? Well, that's a fantastic question. And it touches a lot of areas. So, as coaches and as agile leaders, we get used to a certain rhythm and we get used to certain personalities on our team. And if you're a consultant, you move around a lot. And if you're just changing a job, you got to expect that now you're dealing with new ways of working, new standards, new mores, new values, and things that you're just not used to. And you have to be effective, and you want to be effective quickly, obviously. So what are the things that you got to do and do first? Well, first, let's remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a unique and powerful force in this industry. If this helps you, tell your friends, and don't forget to go to badassagile.com to ask me your leadership and coaching questions so I can answer them on an upcoming episode. You can also sign up to get Agile mindset tips delivered straight to your inbox twice a week. All right, so let's remember one important thing. No matter where you may roam as an Agile professional, the companies may be different, even radically different. So think government versus high tech. They're going to have radically different priorities, radically different cultures, but no matter where you go, people are exactly the same. Now, it's useful to understand the culture and its traditions, its rules, for the sake of context or perspective, but that's not the muscle you need to flex. It's connecting with individuals, which is universal. Does that make sense? And the secret to that, and I've done several episodes on this, like building teams with beer, I think one was called, and another episode on value is about connecting your values to their values. But ultimately what it boils down to is that you have to make the time to connect. If you just walk into the room and start preaching to people, that's not real ministry. That's not real evangelism. That's not really helping. That is not bonding with your team. You got to make the time to understand and empathize. So you can do it over a round of beer. You can do it after initial round of one-to-one coaching. So book 20 minutes to 40 minutes with every single person on the team and just bang through them. But you never do that in a public way. You don't do that, the whole team at once. You do it person by person in a private meeting room because people are going to need a safe place to tell you about themselves, to tell you who they are and what they value. See, because at the end of the day, influencing people and getting them to change and getting them to act is about meeting their needs first. If you can find a way to serve an individual, to give that person more of what they want and less of what they don't, then you can lead them, but not until. Serve first. Whom do you serve? How do you serve them, and why? Now, when you start in an organization, you may find that different types of people are motivated by different types of things based on the organization type. Someone who works for government may be very interested in job security. They may be interested in maybe a little bit more blending into the background, not having to make big decisions. And they're certainly more comfortable in an environment where things like technology and product speed to market are not the prime directive. Those people value maybe safety and certainty a little bit more than they value something like significance or standing out or being able to be creative in their jobs. But if you're working for a marketing firm, obviously their values are going to be very different. But let's not generalize. Spend the time to find out where that person comes from. And if you don't remember, or if you haven't heard the episode, there's simple questions you can ask. Why do you get up and jump out of your bed to come to this job every day? And if their answer to that is no good, or it's something like, well, to pay my bills, then you have to keep digging. What would you do if you won the lottery? What would you do if you knew you were never going to get paid for it, but you love it so much, you'd do it anyway? What would you do if you had a year left to live? What do you spend the most time and energy on outside of the office that you truly love, where time just stands still? You don't notice the hours slipping away because you love it so much. Those kinds of questions will help reveal what a person values. And the big question to keep asking over and over and over is why? 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 Why do you do that? Why do you spend so much time on that? Why do you love that so much? People will eventually get down to a statement that talks about how that makes them feel. I feel important because I'm doing my best work and I'm helping my customers to have a great experience. I do this because it gives me a feeling of safety and security. My mother used to do this when I was a kid, and it made me feel really calm. They'll eventually tell you about how those activities make them feel. That's where you want to get to. Once you know that, you're connected with their emotions and you're able to find creative ways to meet their needs, to give them more of what they want, to be loved, to feel important, to make a contribution, or to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to have security, to know that tomorrow is going to be exactly the same as yesterday. Those are all valid needs, and it's not up to us to change them or to judge them. They just are. Find a way to serve those needs, and now you can lead them. And if you remember the last episode that you were reacting to, your one thing, is all about taking the thing that you can do in your sleep, the thing you're most passionate about, and connecting it to your Agile work, bringing it to the Agile workplace. What you need to do is get your team to do the same, which means you need a way to connect what they value as people to what the organization values, what the team values, and what you as a coach value. So in your one thing, we talked about the metaphors and stories around bike repair, if that's your passion, that you can bring to Agile. Now you have to help them. If their thing is baseball or tennis, now you have to be able to start telling stories in the context or situation of baseball or tennis to make it meaningful to them. So for example, if I know someone loves baseball and they're having a really hard time understanding risk, I might say, listen, the best hitters in baseball strike out 6 out of 10 times on a good day. So the reality is we have to expect a lot of failures to get to that one success, even just to get to first base, never mind hitting that home run, which in the professional game, the best of the best of the best hitters maybe get 30 a year over hundreds or even 1,000 plate appearances. So when you can start talking their language, now you can connect them to emotions and feelings, and you can even back it up with logic and similes and things that they inherently have internalized and can relate to easily. Now you can influence them. So to answer your question, the most important thing you have to do when you're incorporating into a new culture is not learning the culture. It is connecting one-to-one with the people whom you serve. Get to that place where they're talking to you about how their daily work makes them feel. And now you have a connection point that you can use to influence, to inspire, and to make meaningful change. And if you do this, you have an opportunity to be that unforgettable person, the person who changed their lives. And that's really, I think, for most of us, the reason why we do what we do. So serve. Start there and see what happens. I hope this helps. Folks, thank you for listening. You can reach out at badassagile.com or find me on Twitter at badass_agile. Thank you, Enzo, for sending in your question. I hope this helped. Look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.